Hey, welcome to the second episode of the Vibe Tribe. So I want to start off the show by just mentioning, just sharing a story that just something that happened to me. I like people from all races, from all ethnicities, and so this the restaurant where I work at, I bartend, I wait tables, I do everything on there. And there was this lady, to me she looked Puerto Rican. She was very beautiful. She was kind of short, and she had long hair, and I don't know. I would just to me, she was very beautiful, and then so I just I wanted to break the ice, and I was at the bar. At that time I was at the bar, and then I was like, ¿de dónde es usted? And then she was like, oh, adivina. She was like, oh, guess. And then I was like, oh, usted es de Puerto Rico. And she's like, no. We pronounce the R's. Nosotros pronunciamos las R's. Es Puerto Rico. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, my bad. So that didn't go as smooth as I wanted to. But I think it was funny. Like, she got kind of taken back, and she kind of, she told me, it's like, no, that's not the right way. So I guess I have to be have to be careful with that. But it's kind of like one of those things that I'm just trying to break the ice. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to be friendly and try to cut the the tension. I think when you're a bartender, you that's one of your jobs, is to not only serve drinks, but you it's like a service, right? So you have to talk to people and be like, hey, how was your day, man? So I always try to do that. Try to not if that was me on the other side of at the bar, I would want to kind of like start a conversation, just try to get my mind off of whatever it is that it's going through my life. But I thought that was really funny. And she ended up doing karaoke, and she was a really good singer. And then so it was a little nice treat, to see her and sing a few songs. She was beautiful singer. I haven't seen her since. But maybe one day if I see her again, I'll say, hey, you're from Puerto Rico, and not Puerto Rico. But I always try to learn from other nationalities, from other ethnicities. I think it's just interesting, I know there's like people from Oaxaca, from Mexico, where they, it's like they can live, like, for example, in one area, and they speak one dialect, and you can go maybe 5 miles, away from that area, and they speak a whole different dialect, and it's just very interesting. They just have their own language, and I know the people that I've met here in the United States, like, Spanish is not their first language. Their native language is their first language, and then Spanish, and then English. They're here, to work or immigrate or whatever, to have a better life here in the United States. So I was trying to, learn by other, about other ethnicities, other nationalities, and I'm just like generally interested. I come as like nosy, but I'm generally just wanna learn, and I think because that's what makes this world interesting. You have all this type of people who eat different foods, who just have different custom and everything. So I think it's a beautiful thing to just embrace all of that. So anytime I meet people from Oaxaca, from Mexico, from El Salvador, I try to ask questions. What type of food you guys eat there? What how's transportation? What do you guys do for fun? And I'm always jealous. No, I'm always jealous, and yeah. But I always try to I always try to treat people like a human being, no matter what, status they are. I think that's important. I think that's important to just treat people with like respect and and be courteous, and don't try to be a superior, than them, whatever their status is. And I think it's important, no matter, no matter what it is. I think you have to be humble, and just treat people with respect. Just be kind, and just, and I think, and a lot of people think because of they don't speak the language, or they have an accent, that means like they're, that they're not very smart. But that's, I mean, they're totally wrong. They're totally wrong. You'd be surprised that there's a lot of people, or Latinos that are just, they have many talents. They have many talents, and they just, see, in Mexico. So we don't have a lot of resources. So we we try. We're very creative, and the reason why is because we don't have a lot of resources. So we just try to um, just we'll do the thing, with the thing, and then this is the thing, instead of just going, buying, going to the store. We just take this and this, and then there it is, because we're just, we don't have, we don't have money, we don't have money, so we have to be creative. We're kind of like in survival mode. And so I know, and I know I shared this story with my friends and my colleagues, but I haven't shared this story. Me and my parents used to, or excuse me, me and my dad, because I remember this when I was little. Me and my dad would just go. We used to live in Mexico, and then for money, I mean, this is what we used to do. For money, we would just go to like dumpsters. And I mean, I remember this very vividly. There was one dumpster that had like all these perfumes, and they were like, I think they were like samples. And then we just took them back to Mexico, and then we just like, sold them to make money for them. And then we always, come back to the same place. And sometimes, we'll just take like, we'll find like, like a fan or something that's not working, or it's missing a button or whatever. And we'll try to, patch it up, and put a different button from a different thing, and sell it. And that's what, at one point, that's what we did for a living. So now that I'm going back, it's very interesting. It's kind of like, you're just, yeah, you're just kind of like in survival mode. And that's one of those, and I think maybe that's why I'm creative. It's not so much because I feel like I'm talented, but I think I have not that freedom, but I don't hesitate to to create something. You know what I mean? Like I just, like it's part of it's in my blood. Having that, taking something and make it, it had one use, and now give it a different use. Transform it. I think transforming things, or and stuff like that. And I try to do that, and I try to do that in my daily life. And one of the things that I do is I tried to like, especially with my clothes, they're like, I take like a shirt, and I'll try to either match it with, with some pants, and I'll take that same shirt and maybe put a blazer over it. And then maybe one day I'll wear like some, I don't know, khakis, and a different day I would try, kind of like the same thing, but change it up each time. And you start figuring out that you have many options. You can just with the same clothes, you can just change it in the way that you wear it, or the way that you mix it with other colors. Whether if it contrasts or it doesn't contrast, or if it's like you wear this different shades or whatever. And I think that's part of trying to be creative with what you have. It's it's something that I've always done. And I think that's why I don't hesitate to be like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And I've sold paintings. I have sold, I know I did this Batman, or painting. Actually, it was like spray paint, and it was a portrait of Batman. And I think I just found this like in the trash, and it was like kind of like this piece of metal, aluminum. And I think it must have been from like a like a, what do you call it, like a heater or some sort. I don't know. I mean, that's the closest thing that I could think of. And I just painted over it, and then I sold it. I sold that painting, and it didn't cost me very much. But it's like I when one thing that I said to people is like, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So people see garbage, um, I see a canvas. And I think it's because I'm not afraid to pick it up and transform it into something. And I think, I always strive to do stuff like that are kind of romantic, or that they are, that have meaning, or that have thought, that that was some thought, into it. Um, but yeah, man, that Dahmer series is killer. No pun intended. Um, I know I've talked to people. I know I talked to a lot of people about it, and about how they haven't watched it, and I think because of this preconceived notion that it's going to be gore, and it's going to be just too much. But I think, um, and I think that was the reason why I didn't want to watch it either. Kind of like, oh no, it's going to be this and that, and I just can't. I can't stand. This type of this series glorifying a serial killer. But then I just watched that first episode. You just kind of fill it out, and I'm like, okay, all right. So it's a little it starts out slow. It starts out slow, but you're still intrigued, and you're still kind of wondering what the next thing. And it's more so just kind of like from the perspective um, of the victims. So it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't. eh, Emphasize on the killings themselves, right? So it's not like it's taking all the energy on just the killings, but it's kind of like seeing the people that he killed, that Jeffrey Dahmer killed, as like human beings, people with feelings, people with family, people with jobs, or whatever. And so they just show that side, that human side, and not so much focus on, so they kind of tell the backstory of the people, and of their family. But then once they are, or once Jeffrey Dahmer is, kind of like, he has this pattern of kind of like drugging these people, and putting like, putting, I don't remember which drug, but kind of like spiking their drinks with something, and then takes them home, and then he wants to control them, and then to do different things to them. But then it doesn't get to the point where, like, when he does the criminal act, then it just kind of like, it just, I don't know, it's done very tasteful, where it doesn't glorify Dahmer. So it's more so very focusing on kind of like the victims, and kind of like Jeffrey Dahmer's backstory, how he was just lived in a trouble household, and his parents fought every day, and his parents were separated, and then he at one time, when he was, I think, when 18, 19 years old, he was left alone for weeks, and without knowing where his mom or his dad are, and so it's kind of like it focuses on that, on the real thing. So it's very real, and it's very real. It's very um and it's just very tastefully done. So if you ever watch it. Watch the first episode, just fill it out. But for those people that think a that it's gonna be like, no, I can't watch it. Yeah, it's like you have to go, in with a little bit of, openness, and I really enjoy it. It's like very slow, It's not like where, like I said before, it's like this huge, murder, scene that they're doing. It's just very, it's very classical. There's some. Some of the scenes are just very classical, and I don't know. It's very interesting. You guys should watch it. I think I'm on the third, um, fourth, maybe fourth, fifth episode. I don't know. I end up, so this is a proof that it's not that bad. So I watch it, and then I go to sleep and I don't have any nightmares. So that means that should be, so it's not that bad. But yeah, you guys should watch it. Yeah, once in a while I just have to check, make sure it's recording. Um, to be honest, I didn't want to. I didn't want to record. I was just so. I was so tired, man. I want to be honest. I was just so tired. I know I want. I just didn't know what to talk about. I didn't. Just didn't know how I was gonna start. But then I was just like, how do I motivate? I mean, how do you guys motivate yourselves to do something? And I think just with anything, I try to um when I start something, then I just have to do it and keep doing it, and then that's why I can't start things, because of that. But at one point, you have to think like how important it is, and just start it. Just make plans and start it, or just do it and then figure it out. Figure it out along the way, which I've been doing. Just trying to figure it out along the way. Um, but I always felt like I can't do things. I'm trying to see like a thing. I don't know. Like if I clean, I have to like do it until like I'm done. You know what I mean? So like I can't just like, okay, so I'm gonna take the trash one day, and then after that, then I'm just gonna clean the furniture, and then after that, I'm gonna assemble, or not assemble, but kind of move the furniture around, differently. Like I can't do that. Like I have to do it. Just I have to do it out. Like I can't just go back. There's something that I like, triggers in my brain that I'm just like, I don't know. Like I literally can't sleep. Like I have to do it. So same thing with like the podcast. I'm like, oh man, I have to do the podcast. I had a long day. What am I gonna do to get motivated? Um, so then in order, to kind of, shake that off, I I just started cleaning. I just started cleaning, and I just kind of got my mind off of that, and trying to like reset my mind. But that's hard, man. Like that's hard to get yourself motivated. It's a thing where um you have to train your brain to be like, okay, you're gonna do this and that. Like I never used to do like to have a plan. Like I think you have to have a plan and be like, okay, so if you want to do this podcast, instead of okay, so you get it clean, and then make sure everything is organized, and then set up for the podcast, and then do it. So you have to have a plan. I remember when I was and when I was working at the clinic, and then we had COVID, that the whole COVID thing hit, and then and I was let go because of COVID, and then I was like, let go for like a couple of weeks, and I'm like, sweet, so I get some vacation, I get to do something that, or whatever, get to do something that I never had the time to do, and so I did those things, but then, after that I was like, okay, well, I've done everything that I wanted to do. I wanted to ride my bike, I wanted to read books, I wanted to go, or I wanted to watch movies at home, I want to do this and that, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. Now what? You know what I mean? Then I was just like, like I had this time, and I started getting bored. So then I started thinking, okay, well, you gotta have a plan when you're presented with this time, or this freedom. You gotta have a plan. So obviously I like to, and I talked about this, about how I wanted to be spontaneous, and be surprised, but I think you do have to make minimal planning in order to do that. I mean, you can plan that you are gonna um I don't know, like bachata. Like the other day, I went to a bachata lesson, which was great. I mean, I took bachata like once or twice, but this was like a big group, and the the person that who was leading the class, he was just really good. And one of the things that was interesting is that I think it's cool to see, at least for me, see a people of color, whether Mexican or whether Hmong or whether Native American or African American. I think that's cool, because you rarely, at least for me, you rarely see in those spaces people of color. So I think that was cool. So there was a lot of a lot of people with dark hair there, which it felt very welcoming for me. And and that's what I'm talking about. You can plan to go to the bachata lesson, but then just the people that I met there, that were just so wonderful. And then I met a person there, and she was so wonderful, and she gave me a lot of tips. And then after that, we just went to this club, and dance, and it just became like this great night. And I wasn't planning doing that. I wasn't planning honestly, I wasn't planning to have that much fun. It was fun. It's something that I needed. But it was funny though, because I know like everybody was laughing, because I'm like, I'm just like, hey, how do you do this? Like, how do you um when you tell your partner that you're gonna spin her or whatever. So I kind of like do this very openly and out loud, and then everybody was just laughing, and I'm just like, no, I'm sorry, but I'm generally want to learn bachata. So maybe one of these episodes, maybe I'll show you some of my bachata moves. I'm getting better. I'm getting better, and I just gotta keep going. See, that's the thing. So now I have to keep going. That's my problem. So I have to just, I can't. I need to finish it. So if I already started, I need to, get better, and then go to other bachata lessons, and just keep going. Otherwise, I just feel like, okay, so what's the point of starting something? You're just not gonna. But that's okay. If you want to start something, and then don't feel you don't have a good vibe about it, that's fine. Just leave it. But for me, it's just like I need to do it. I need to do it. There's reasons why I don't want to. I mean, I've asked to be part of things. Be part of like the community. Be part of a committee, and I do want to do those things, but I have to dedicate like my energy and my time. So I have to and I if I start it, like I have to keep dedicating that time. Like I can't just start and just like leave it. I mean, I used to do things, then follow through, and so I'm trying to change, and that's like discipline. I'm just trying to discipline myself, where I'm like, okay, you started this podcast, you started your bachata lessons, you started cleaning. Now you have to finish it, and that's like self-discipline, and I think that's very healthy, at least for me. Because I was just the total opposite. If you want to be somebody who um, wants to be number one, wants to be successful, this is one of the things that you just have to integrate into your life. But it not only does it help you in your business or whatever you're doing, but it helps you like in life. It helps you just to be a better. Just to plan your life a little bit better, and you have to invest a little bit. And if I could go back in my early 20s, I would tell myself to invest in myself, and not to save. Because I think if you save money, whatever, if it's for a house or whatever, you spend all the time just saving money, but not actually growing. You know what I mean? So you can spend 2, 3, 5 years just, sure, you're going to earn a lot of money, but you're not going to grow as a person. I think, it's important that you invest in yourself, whether if you want to go to medical school, be a nurse or whatever, invest in yourself, and learning new skills, and always like, tackle any challenges that life gives you, and just keep doing better, keep learning stuff. And that's one of the things that I've been doing in my 30s now, not in my 20s. But I wish, that I could have go back and be like, okay, just invest a little bit, in yourself, and and trying to distract yourself, and I think I felt like, when I was in my 20s, I had all these ideas, right? But then I never actually made plans, or I never actually made yeah, like I did, like, that's how I was. I started things and I'm just like, oh, no, I didn't follow through. But now that in my 30s, it's like, okay, well, I think in my 30s I was like, okay, I think now it's time to make those plans and make, it's now to take action, to make those plans and just do it. Um, and yeah, so that's my tip for you. That's my tip for me to you. Just follow through, and don't be afraid to start something. I think the biggest thing is that you started it, you did it because you wanted to, and I think the cosmos is gonna tell you like okay, maybe this is not your thing. And that's happened to me where I start things and and the energy is telling me like this, maybe this is not the thing for you. But then how would you know? It's like I always try to find my talents. I asked my parents the other day, it's like, what's my talent? And I don't know what my talent is, because I started thinking about my daughter. I want her, I'm trying to find her talent, and then trying to push her and support her, and then and for her to be successful. So when you're somebody like me, like I ask my parents like, what's my talent, so I can know, so I can kind of flourish it and kind of feed it, and then so I'm still I'm still figuring that out. Um, but that's part of the part of the process. You have to embrace the process and just enjoy. And for those people that feel themselves unmotivated, and that's happened to me where I just don't feel motivated. And one advice to you is just like everything you do, no matter where you are in life, no matter what you're doing, try to enjoy everything about it, every little thing, even if it's like challenging. Just try and embrace everything. That's what I try to learn. There are parts where in this time of my life, there are things that, like this period of my life, I'm never gonna forget because of how challenging it has been. I've just had so many challenges, and I'm just thinking like, man, what am I gonna do? But that makes you like a better person. So I would try to embrace those challenges, and it's very true, and I try to exercise that, where like just enjoy everything that you do. Like if you look at my schedule, and by no means I'm trying to brag, but my schedule is just very tight. I have like multiple things going on at once, and I have a family, and then I have to go, and and I'm doing this podcast, and I do this other podcast with Jasmine Carvajal, El Color Latino. Check it out, elcolorlatino.com. And and I have this podcast, and I'm trying to run two businesses, and working on a third business venture. And so my sketch is pretty tight, but I tell myself like, you can do it. You can do it. Embrace. I try to do that. Embrace everything that I'm doing, and like every part of it. And I travel a lot. And I'm working at a clinic right now. So I'm doing all that, and I'm not. And I don't feel a bit overwhelmed because I train my brain to be like, I'm liking every little thing that I'm doing, because imagine doing this, in a few years, I'm going to be doing something else, and it's going to be a piece of cake, So I just encourage you to just embrace it, embrace everything you do. And thanks for listening. Yeah, thanks for listening. Hopefully, you accept my unsolicited advice, and and we'll keep doing, we keep doing this. We're having some chats, like this, about stuff. And yeah, until then, this was the Vibe Tribe.